We looked at the box office in the previous video. If you'd like to go check that out, we dive deep into it and take a look at certain things and realize that Indiana Jones, it's an embarrassing disaster because Insidious, I have no idea what this one is, the third, fourth, fifth installment of a franchise that was whatever, putting out another film that is, who cares, just goes out there and beats the ever-loving brakes off of Indiana Jones on Friday. Don't know what that means for Saturday, but guess what? Probably nothing good. And then given the fact that I'm pretty sure Mission Impossible ends up dropping, it's like Tuesday or Wednesday, Indiana Jones is done. Like, it's absolutely done. It's going to be one of the biggest box office flops in history. It might, at the end of the day, end up making $150, $200 million. It's a disaster. It's going to end up losing hundreds of millions of dollars. Sucks to be anybody associated with that, except for Kathleen Kennedy. She's going to be there until she's goddamn well ready to retire. Post-COVID, what the fuck are we talking about? Okay, there's a lot of studios that have been able to make horror work at the box office. Yeah, exactly. Including Paramount with Smile. That sounds familiar. Warner Brothers with Evil Dead Rise. Oh, okay. And Universal with Megan. I remember hearing about that. Was that so much of a horror film as much as a parody? Because it was what, that little goofy doll? I don't know, man. It's been a minute. And The Black Phone. That one escapes me, but I've never been a horror movie guy. Anyways, but not Sony until now. Insidious, the Red Door, is a Blumhouse fifthquel. So it is the fifth one. All right. But Sony gets props here for the marketing and film and choosing a killer theatrical release date in between Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and ahead of Tom Cruise' summer box office cyclone, Mission Impossible: A Dead Reckoning. Which is kind of wild, right? Because, okay, Mission Impossible films at the box office prior to this one, they were just looked at as like, oh, it's going to be good. Like, it'll be fine. Okay. And the last one came out in 2018 or something like that. I'm not even entirely sure. I know that it didn't make $1 billion. That didn't happen for Tom Cruise until Maverick. But now everybody's looking at it and go, okay, cool. This is Tom Cruise's next big release in a much more relevant franchise than Top Gun, which was always just the gay volleyball movie with fighter pilots. Okay, what are you going to do with Mission Impossible here? Is this going to be one of those things because Saint Steven Spielberg went over to personally thank Tom Cruise for saving the theatrical release industry? So now everybody's looking at this. It's like, okay, how quickly is it going to make $1 billion? But okay, all fueling what looks to be the horror franchise's second best opening at $31 million after Insidious's Chapter 2, $40.2 million. Okay, so after the breakout that was Insidious, I forget when that was. Okay, you had all the goodwill into that one. Interesting. And then the third one just dropped off a cliff, which is kind of what ends up happening with all these horror franchises. Everybody is, in anticipation. It's like, ooh, what's the next one going to do? The Blair Witch Project is a perfect example of that. Everybody was captivated by that. It's still probably budget to profit ratio, one of the biggest blockbusters, if we can go ahead and use that term, just appropriate it for a second. One of the biggest blockbusters ever. And then the second one is legendarily shit. And I guess the horror genre is really synonymous with that. Everybody likes the first film, and then the second one comes out, and you got more studio interference, bigger budgets, more explosions, scarier ideas. But you've already kind of given up the ghost when it comes to the premise, and well, everybody's kind of left languishing. But like I've stated before, the people are out there. They want to go be entertained. So yeah, if it's going to be a horror film that's out there, I remember watching the first and said, yeah, we'll just go down there and watch it. The people aren't done with escapism. For people that say, oh my God, Hollywood's dying, or, oh, the movie industry, oh, it's going to go away and it's just being replaced. The people like to go check out video games more. Oh my God, do you understand how many people a day watch YouTube? Not everybody wants to be engaged in a tactile entertainment medium. People just want to throw on a video, throw on a movie, and forget their day, okay? That's what escapism is. That's what it's always been. Back in the time when everybody would just sit around the campfire and exchange stories, they want a passive form of entertainment. So that's why I personally do not believe that Hollywood is dying. Just their messaging is, which is what you can see here. $31 million for a B-level horror film to beat the brakes off of a AAA blockbuster is fucking hilarious. Meaning that, yeah, Indiana Jones, okay, second place is second weekend with $25 to $28 million, because I still actually have the tab up here, because you can see, okay, so this is Friday, $7.6 million on Friday. Like I said, if it's going to be somewhere in that area, you know, it's done. It's dusted, okay? And if you think it's going to be, what, like $6 or $7 million Saturday and Sunday, it's, oh my God, like, it's a total wrap. The Insidious franchise is alive, as other long-running horror franchises Saw 5 and the fifth Scream, I guess, putting up $30 million starts. Many are accounting for the front-loaded nature of Red Door, with at least a 30% decline today off Friday's $15.22 million, which includes $5 million in previews. Okay, for Blumhouse, Red Door is the 16th title to open at number 1, while tentpoles get all the glory in a post-COVID marketplace. Blumhouse continues to deliver. Just don't point out Sound of Freedom and its absolute success. Just don't do that. No, don't do that at all. Sony originally bought U.S. rights to the first film out of TIFF, okay, Toronto International Film Festival, but ended up making a distribution deal with the Film Direct. Yeah. All that stuff is wonderful and fantastic. And speaking of Sound of Freedom, okay, the film everyone is talking about will peg third place with $15.2 million and a running 6-day total of $37.2 million. Aside from right-wing groups funding ticket sales here, okay, I guess it's not quite as insidious as what Rolling Stone and CNN, pun not intended, are trying to say that it's QAnon adjacent, but yeah, okay. I've been seeing a lot of quote-unquote conservative influencers push it, mostly because, well, Jim Caviezel is just running in those circles, so it kind of makes sense, but I guess it's fair to point it out. And Angel Studios energizing its faith-based followers, the Caviezel action thriller is pulling in a huge Latino and Hispanic crowd where if you listen to some of my political commentary on certain topics, you know that a lot of Hispanic culture is starting to wake up and realize that, oh, we've just been told by the media that, oh, we should just be voting Democrat. Why exactly? They don't share any of our values. And they've been trending over the past few elections a lot more conservatively. And that's why, oh, they're all getting lumped into, oh, there's just different shades of white supremacy now. Whatever dumb stuff they want to go out there and peddle. Because the moment that you break through the narrative and you start to think for yourself, well, then you start to become othered. But then once the media starts to realize that everybody else, literally everybody else outside from them and everyone else in their own bubble are the overwhelming majority, then they understand that their goose is cooked. But yeah, the rest of the breakdown is, okay, 57% Caucasian, 5% Black, and 9% Asian. Okay, women are dominating here at 58%. Betcha they kind of reluctantly report on that one. With older people showing up big at 57% over 45 and 37% over 55. This is exactly how a faith-based movie plays. Strongest markets are South Central, and the middle of the country. Highest grossing theater in the nation, Regal Thoroughbred in Nashville with $53,000. And then for them to point out how rare it is that this occurs, yeah, very reminiscent of American Sniper, but an indie scale and level. Yeah, no, exactly. It's almost like the people are out there, and if you put out a product that they want to go watch, guess what? They're going to turn out. But yeah, man, after this weekend's numbers and totals are run and accounted for, they're going to try to sweep away the failures of Indiana Jones as quickly as possible. Mostly because they just want you to forget. Okay, they were trying to push it real hard. They wanted the girl boss to come in and, shucks, we'll just have to try again. Remember, Disney has another flag bearer in the Marvels that's going to be coming out in November, which is going to be a catastrophic failure that's going to make Indiana Jones look like a moderate success. Can't wait. Can't wait. That film's almost been delayed as much as Indiana Jones 5. But in trying to move away instead of addressing the elephant in the room, that is the style of these institutional failures, which is what Clay Travis is pointing out here. NBA is America's first Bud Light style fiasco, but you're not supposed to know that. Exactly. Well, realistically, it's whenever sports decides to delve into politics, kind of like Hollywood, which has always kind of been political. Actually, it's not kind of, it's always been political, especially from the writer's room aspect. A shout out to a very good video by Razorfist about Hollywood has always been red. Those writer's rooms have been staffed with more commies than the Politburo. It's just, they could get away with so much more with clever writing and subversive tactics, but now that you just have the people that haven't accomplished anything hopping into those booths and no conflicting opinions, they just believe that they can be more overt with their tactics, which is exactly what happened with the NBA. Now that you have these privileged kids coming from broken homes that have one aspect of talent being asked very complex questions, and they provide inarticulate answers, and this is why you just end up getting little political pawns that you can go ahead and push around and influence the culture. So what's he trying to tie together here by saying that, okay, the NBA was first and Bud Light is just copying that trend? Bud Light's business has collapsed since April. Oh, thanks. Hadn't figured that one out. Plummeting 30% consumption. The results of the company putting a trans influencer on a can to celebrate NCAA's March Madness basketball tournament. Yeah, it was just so out of touch and dumb. Kind of like, selling the idea that, hey, you want to go see archaeologist expeditions by tackling some of the oldest tales of time and unearthing some historical relics, or do you want to see an annoying girl boss? Oh, well, we only have the latter. You can come in with the idea of getting the former, but no. If you don't like it, you're a misogynist. Exact same way, you have Bud Light, which has been consumed by guys forever, and guys like beer in general. Guys like beer, not women. So you put a guy in drag up there on TikTok, on a platform that your regular Bud Light drinker just looks at as a Chinese disinformation app and would never go on there to begin with, doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense unless you're completely and totally out of touch and big mad whenever somebody criticizes your stupid decisions. The resulting social media brouhaha, combined with the head of marketing deriding the brand's out-of-touch humor and fratty connotations, has led to the most crushing boycott of a large consumer product brand in modern history. Nothing's even close. Not at this point in time. Like it's far and away. It takes the gold medal and then turns it into a transgender penis. Bud Light legitimately might be finished as a popular beer. Every indication seems to point that out. As I demonstrated in May with an experiment that went viral, we covered that as well. He had the free beer cooler that was out there, had three different brews. What was in there? Yingling, Coors, and Bud Light. And the only thing that was left a couple of hours later was, well, you guessed it, No, I'm joking. Bud Light, obviously. The backlash will be studied in marketing courses over the next 40 or 50 years, but many in the media are already proclaiming Bud Light is a unicorn. Well, you can go take a look at Target and realize that that's not all shaking out all that well. And tomorrow might be talking about another aspiring boycott that's going to lead to a lot of problems because you had a commie company make a completely stupid statement, and then either they're going to have to betray or live up to their standards, which is either or, not going to be good for them. But in the media are already proclaiming, yes, Bud Light unicorn, the first of its kind conservative boycott that has obliterated decades of goodwill for a company. That is not true. Conservative boycotts work. The most consequential boycott of the 21st century didn't come from drinkers' rejection of beer. It came from sports, in particular the NBA, which was destroyed with its brand with a large percentage of Americans sporting public by embracing woke political far-left messaging in its games. Oh, okay, yeah, during 2020, and then the resulting ratings decline. All right. American sports media overwhelmingly supports far left-wing political messaging. And then you realize that, okay, one of the biggest proponents of that stuff, ESPN, just laid off 24 different long-term and short-term employees, realizing that, you can go ahead and preach woke, but woke doesn't make money. The same media won't write about the report of the truth of the decline of NBA's viewership because to do so would be seen as a repudiation of their own worldview. Exactly. No, that's a very good point and a very good line to draw. Hence why I married both of these topics together, okay? The NBA embracing left-wing tactics doesn't resonate with the audience. Indiana Jones openly embracing using the veil of a masculine brand in order to subvert it and bring in a feminist, far-left, demasculating story doesn't resonate with the people. It's the exact same thing that's going on here. Indiana Jones 5's failures mirror that of Bud Light's collapse. People are sick and tired. They're waking up, they're connecting the dots, and it spells the end for this terrible death spiral we've been seeing in media, in industry, everywhere over the past decade or so when it's been completely and totally overt. I've never been especially this year. This has really reinvigorated my spirit when it comes to the future, because I think the silent majority is starting to get activated in 2024. While it's going to be wild, it's definitely going to be that reckoning. We're finally going to get the conclusion to that hero story, because all of these companies, the 2023 is going to be terrible business for them, which, you know what that means? It's going to be good business for us. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.